Hello everyone, welcome back to Long Conversational English. I'm Aisha.
And I'm Fatima. We're so happy you're here today.
Today we're talking about money, something we all need to understand better. We'll cover budgeting, banking, and how to save money in everyday life.
Yes, and we'll share some personal stories too. So grab your coffee or tea and let's chat like friends.
So, Fatima, I was looking at my budget yesterday and I realized I spend way too much on food delivery. Do you have this problem too?
Oh, yes, especially late at night when I'm tired from work. It's so easy to just order something instead of cooking.
Exactly. So now I'm trying to plan my meals better. I make a grocery list every week and I try to cook more Nigerian dishes at home.
That's smart. I do the same with Lebanese food. My mom taught me to always buy rice and lentils in bulk because they last long and cost less.
Your mom sounds wise. My grandmother always said the same thing about buying in bulk.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of budgeting, do you track your expenses? I use a simple app on my phone.
I tried apps, but I prefer writing things down in a notebook. I like seeing my spending on paper.
That's a good method too. The important thing is to do it regularly.
Yes, every week I write down how much I spent on groceries, transport, bills, and fun activities.
Speaking of bills, I remember when I first moved here and opened my bank account. I was so confused by all the papers they gave me.
Oh, I know that feeling. The bank statements looked so complicated.
Yes, I had to ask the bank employee to explain everything. She was very patient.
That's good. I learned that you should always ask questions at the bank. Don't be shy.
Absolutely. I asked things like, what are the monthly fees? And how much money do I need to keep in my account?
Good questions. I also ask about ATM fees because I use cash machines often.
Speaking of banks, Fatima, when I first opened my account, I didn't understand the difference between a checking account and a savings account.
Oh, yes, that confused me too. Now I know that a checking account is for everyday spending. You use your debit card and write checks from it.
And a savings account is for money you want to keep and grow, right? It usually earns a little interest, but you can't use a debit card with it.
Exactly. The bank employee also explained about credit cards. That was even more confusing because I'd never had one before.
Credit cards are tricky. I learned that you're borrowing money when you use them, and you have to pay it back every month.
Yes, and if you don't pay the full amount, they charge you interest. The interest rates can be very high, sometimes 20% or more.
That's expensive. But I also learned that using a credit card responsibly helps build your credit score. This is important for getting loans later.
Right. I started with a secured credit card because I had no credit history. I put down a deposit and used it for small purchases.
That's smart. And now I understand my electricity bill much better too. At first, I didn't know what all those numbers meant.
Same here. Now I know to look for the total amount due and the due date. Those are the most important parts.
Yes, and I check if my payment from last month is shown on the bill.
That's important. And now with online banking, everything is so much easier. I can check my balance anytime on my phone.
I love the mobile app too. I can transfer money, pay bills, and even deposit checks by taking a photo. It's amazing technology.
Yes, but I'm always careful about security. I never do banking on public Wi-Fi, and I log out after every session.
Good habits. And speaking of digital payments, my friends and I often use apps like Venmo to split costs when we go out together.
Oh, I use those too. It's so convenient. Instead of dealing with cash, I just send money with a few taps on my phone.
You know, talking about money with friends has really helped me understand these things better.
I agree. When I talk with my friends about the cost of living, I learn so much. Like, my friend Sarah taught me about comparing prices at different grocery stores.
Oh, that's so useful.
She said, Fatima, you should check the price per kilogram, not just the total price. Now I always do that.
That's great advice. My friends and I often discuss rent prices too. We share information about different neighborhoods.
That's helpful when you're looking for a new place to live.
Exactly. We say things like, my rent is $800 a month, or that area is too expensive for me.
Those are useful phrases for learners. And what about when you go out to eat with friends? Do you split the bill?
Oh, this was confusing at first. In my culture, usually the older person or the person who invited pays for everyone.
Yes, same in Lebanese culture. But here, people often split the bill equally or pay for what they ordered.
I learned to ask, should we split this or can we get separate checks?
Those are perfect phrases. And sometimes I say, let's divide it by four if there are four people.
Good phrase. And don't forget about the tip. That was new for me.
Oh, yes, tipping. I usually say, how much should we tip? Or is 15% okay? Perfect. Now let's talk about something fun shopping and finding good deals.
I love this topic. I'm always looking for discounts and sales. Last week, I found a beautiful dress that was 50% off.
Wow, what a deal. I love end of season sales. That's when you can find the best prices.
Absolutely. I also use apps to compare prices between stores. It saves me a lot of money.
That's smart. I like to ask, is this on sale? Or do you have any discounts today when I'm shopping?
Good phrases. And sometimes stores have student discounts or membership discounts.
Yes, I always ask, do you have a student discount? I save 10% at many places with my student card.
That's great. And I love buying things during holiday sales like Black Friday or after Christmas.
Me too. But I'm careful not to buy things I don't need just because they're cheap.
That's very wise. I ask myself, do I really need this before buying anything?
Good habit. And I try to wait a day before buying expensive things. Sometimes I change my mind. You know what else costs money that I didn't think about at first? All these subscription services Netflix, Spotify, gym memberships.
Oh, those add up fast. I review all my subscriptions every few months. I ask myself, do I really use this service enough to justify the cost?
Good strategy. Last month I canceled two services I wasn't using. I saved $30 a month just by doing that.
That's $30 you can save or spend on something you really want. And sometimes my friends and I share subscriptions to split the cost.
Speaking of saving money, transportation is another big expense. I take the bus instead of using rideshare apps when I'm not in a hurry.
Yes, a bus ticket costs $2, but a rideshare can be $15 or $20 for the same trip. That's a big difference.
Absolutely. And when the weather is nice, I walk or ride my bike. It's free exercise and saves money at the same time.
That's true. And speaking of big expenses, let's talk about housing costs. Rent is usually the biggest expense for most people.
Absolutely. I learned that rent should be about 30% of your income. If you earn $3,000 a month, rent should be around $900.
That's good advice. And don't forget about utilities, electricity, gas, water, internet. These can add another $100 or $200 each month.
Yes, utilities surprised me, but I learned some tricks to save money. I unplug devices when I'm not using them, and I use energy efficient light bulbs.
Great tips! I also adjust my thermostat. I keep it a little cooler in winter and warmer in summer. It makes a big difference on my electricity bill.
And what about phone bills? I switched to a prepaid plan instead of a contract, and now I pay half of what I used to pay.
Smart choice. I compared different phone companies before choosing mine. I asked questions like, how much data do I get? And are there any hidden fees?
You know, we've talked a lot about necessary expenses. But what about entertainment? I've discovered so many free activities in our city.
Yes, parks, free museums on certain days, library events, walking tours. Entertainment doesn't have to cost a lot of money.
Well, Aisha, I think we've covered a lot of useful topics today.
We have, from budgeting to banking, from splitting bills to finding great deals.
And remember, everyone, the most important thing is to practice these conversations in real life. Don't be afraid to ask questions about money matters.
Absolutely. People are usually happy to help when you ask politely. Thank you so much for listening to Long Conversational English today.
Yes, thank you for spending time with us. We'll be back next week with another fun conversation to help you practice your English.
Until then, keep practicing and have a wonderful week. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.